Hi Michael, how are you today?
I'm very well, thanks Tanya.
That's good. I'm here today with Dr. Michael Bartram, who's from the Doctor's Surgery in Lavington, which is in New South Wales in Australia. Thanks for your time today, Michael.
It's a pleasure.
Now, if we could just start off, Michael, I'm sure the audience would love to know exactly what a GP, a general practitioner, or a family physician actually does. That would be great.
Sure, I guess everybody's had experience with their own family doctor, their GP, who over childhood years usually you get to drag along by parents, and be it ear infections or sore throats or the usual childhood illnesses, some people with asthma and so on, can certainly get experience with going to their family doctor. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's a large part of what we do. Then later in life, there are many other things that we get involved with, obviously, from a health perspective. So mm-hmm. the GP is I guess, the central stopping point for a lot of short-term illnesses, but also a lot of chronic disease. Mm-hmm. And so we're really involved in starting out in the world. Mm-hmm. Some GPs are really involved in delivering babies, obstetrics, mm-hmm. that side of things. Mm-hmm. And pretty much all family doctors are involved with looking after children through to elderly. Mm-hmm. And we get the full experience of looking after families in their entirety, mm-hmm. which can be really quite exciting and touching, and a bit of a challenge at times. Mm-hmm. So, it's medicine writ large in the family setting.
Mm-hmm. I once heard someone describe a GP as someone who has to be knowledgeable about all different areas of medicine, not necessarily having to know all the answers, but knowing where to refer people to find those answers. Would that be an accurate?
Sure. Yeah, that's a large part of what you're trained to do, and what you need to do for your own survival as a GP. Mm-hmm. There's no way you can know the latest information about everything, mm-hmm. But you certainly need to have an idea of, if you don't know the actual area of concern, then you need to know who to ask.
Sure.
If you've got a good network of people behind you, mm-hmm. You can achieve a lot.
Fantastic.
For people when they're needing help.
So with regards to training, what back in the days when you were back at school, were you aware when you were going to school that you actually wanted to be a doctor, or is that something that you just sort of fell into?
Yeah, no, it's something that I always aspired to. I've come from a background where there are other family members who were in the doctor profession, so in my case, I'm by no means typical, but I guess that I was aware of the good parts and the bad parts of being involved in medicine, mm-hmm. And the hours involved and the sacrifice, I guess, that is often involved, and the family effort that's involved. So it's taxing not only on the person doing the job, but it's also it's a big ask for those around them. Mm-hmm. People have to be flexible because you can't always plan a 9-to-5 existence. Mm-hmm. And so, I was aware of all the sort of facets, I guess, of medicine, and that drew me. The challenge drew me. Mm-hmm. I have other siblings who weren't interested in the area, mm-hmm. despite having been exposed to it. I think it's in a way it's something that you have to be inspired to do, mm-hmm. because it's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of commitment, but you get a lot out of it.
Mm-hmm. So with regards to subjects, when you were back at school, were you aware of you had a tendency towards the sciences, or you sort of really guided your study in that direction?
I always found the science subjects fascinating, and the human body was fascinating right from an early age, I guess. Getting into the nuts and bolts of how things work was always stimulating, and in the science side of things, I found relatively comfortable doing. and it became a natural sort of focus for me, I guess, over time to use that and adapt that into a health sphere, because, you know, I guess I also had an urge to help people. I mean, it's one of those cliches that you often hear, but
it's true,
a lot of the people who get into this job do it because they want to help people, and the ones who stick with it usually are the ones who really sort of find that very fulfilling. And, you know, for all the hours and all the difficulties, if you're out there making a difference to, you know, to a few people, then it makes life, you know, pretty interesting, pretty exciting.
So I guess looking at it purely from an economic point of view as well, I guess it's a profession that really has a lot of job security in these times, in this day and age. It's probably a good security as well to be part of the profession.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty recession-proof, if you look at it that way. It takes a long time to get through to that point where, you know, you're in the business side of things and able to sort of work that side of things out. But you don't find that people get into medicine because they want to run a great business. The business side of things just falls upon you. But it does certainly have its advantages in that health is always one of the things that people aspire to or hold in high regard. And so, you know, it's really important for the community that health is got right, and to be part of one of the cogs in that big wheel. You know, you find that there's certain advantages that the job isn't going to go away in a big hurry, and providing that you get plenty of resources and you've got the tools you can manage people's health with, then it's going to be, you know, it's an ongoing ongoing job that doesn't go away.
No. I would imagine that you have to be eternally engaged in lifelong learning and professional development to stay.
Always. Yeah, you never stop learning, but I think that's the same with a lot of jobs these days. Like any profession, it's a, you know, you learn, when you go to university, you learn how to learn, and then you do the real job, and you kind of then realise that you've got a whole lot more to learn, and as long as you've got those skills to continue to grow your knowledge and to fill in the gaps as you go, and if you've had a good background and had a good teaching, then you'll end up feeling confident in your job.
Yes,
it takes a while.
Yeah. So what would your recommendations be, or your advice be, to someone who's considering medicine, and I guess in particular the general practice family physician stream of medicine?
My advice, follow your heart. You know, I guess it's, as I say, it's a vocation that's really pretty intense. It's something that requires a lot of effort right from the start, and it's a long journey. It's a lifelong journey, really, but it's a long time even just to get through the basic training. So you've got to be pretty motivated just to, you know, and you've got to be inspired, I suppose, by learning, gaining knowledge. It's all about gaining knowledge, and it's and how it's applied to the human condition.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it's there can be endless hours of fascination reading about human body, psychology, you know, how everything gets put together and how it all goes wrong, and then how it can be readjusted so that you can sort of make a difference. So it's fascinating learning, but you've got to be prepared to go into a job that's going to be intense.
Yes.
So yeah, it just doesn't stop.
No, I can imagine not.
In general practice, I must say, in the defence of general practice, a lot of people go into general practice because once you've gone through that initial intense training and the hospital-based environment that you sort of start out in, it doesn't suit everybody, and certainly general practice has a lot more options for you know, being able to take over some control of your life again, and to rationalise the hours that you're doing. and still to get fulfilment in the job.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know in Australia, in country towns, when a GP moves to a country town where there is no GP, they are welcomed with open arms. So, I think that's maybe a nice aspect of the profession as well.
One of the reasons I work in a country setting was because I saw the positives that the doctors got. My parents were doctors, and I could see that was something that they really enjoyed, as that they were part of a community, and that they were part of a community that was making a difference, and that I thought was something that was a positive about doing your work. If you can do it in an area that helps you feel as though you're making a difference, then it makes it nicer to go to work each day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rather than be caught up in a major sort of system that you perhaps don't feel as though you're making any difference for.
Yes, yeah. Well, thanks very much for your time today, Michael. I really appreciate it, and all the best in your continued profession and the new business.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.